American Democratic politician who became the 34th governor of Kentucky. On the morning of January the 30th, just before the election results were announced, Goebel was warned about a rumoured assassination being planned against him. He had continued to walk down to the old state capital with 2 bodyguards beside him, which would sadly end up to be a bad decision. 5 or 6 shots would be fired, with one hitting Goebel in his chest. The day after he was shot, Goebel would be announced as the new governor, while still in care. He would only put in order one official act before passing away on the afternoon of February the 3rd. Multiple people, such as a man called Taylor, who was the governor before Goebel, fled to Indianapolis due to the threat of indictment. Overall, they found 16 people that may have been involved in the assassination that took Goebel's life. 3 people would end up convicted, however all of them would be pardoned after, and historians still say that what happened to Goebel is still a mystery. Around December 15th, 3 lighthouse keepers that go by the names of James Duckett, Thomas Marshall and Donald Manarthur would all be in charge of the lighthouse located in Scotland. On December 26th, a relief vessel would arrive at the lighthouse and none of the lighthouse keepers came to greet her, and the lighthouse keepers would never be seen again. Their final log entry being on December 15th. An investigation would be conducted and the evidence they gathered suggested that they was on duty up until dinner time on the 15th of December. Investigators seemed convinced that a large wave would rush up to the rocks, going up above them and sweeping them away. However, nothing has ever been confirmed for why they would go missing, leading me to the end of this strange mystery. On the 13th of June in Krasnoyarsk Krai, Russia, a large explosion would take place, an explosion that was between 3 and 50 megatons. A large number of trees would fall and burn due to the impact from the blast, with eyewitnesses saying that there was up to 3 people that tragically perished. This explosion would become the largest impact event in recorded history. It's believed that a meteor airburst of a small asteroid or comet would be the cause of this. However, to this day that theory still isn't confirmed, which unfortunately leads me to the end of my investigation. In 1912, Wilfrid Voynich, who was a Polish book dealer, purchased a manuscript, later on being named after him. The Voynich manuscript is a handwritten illustrated codex with an unknown language, with the authorship still being debated. The vellum it was written on has been carbon dated to the early 15th century, with analysis leaving people to believe it was written in Italy during the Italian Renaissance. In 2020, Yale University will publish the manuscript in its entirety in their digital library. People who have been invested in trying to decipher the manuscript are still yet to reach any success with this, leading me to the end of this strange mystery. Agatha Christie, an English author born on the 15th of September 1890. She would marry a man named Archie on Christmas Eve, 1914. August of 1926, Archie would fall in love with another woman, leading to him asking Christie for a divorce. On the 3rd of December 1926, Archie and Christie would end up arguing when Archie announced that he'd be spending the weekend with friends without her. On that evening, Christie would disappear from her home in Sunningdale. On the 4th of December, they would find her car parked just above a chalk quarry. Inside the car they found an expired driver's licence and clothes. Because of where she parked, people started to fear the worst outcomes. Newspapers started coming out fast in hopes of finding more details on where she could be. On December 14th, 1926, she would finally be found in a hotel in Harrogate, registered as Miss Teresa Neely, using the surname of her husband's lover. To this day, people still don't really know why she did this, and this would never be mentioned on her autobiography. 2 doctors would diagnose her with an unquestionable genuine loss of memory. However, this is still debated. A group of skiers decided to embark on an expedition around the northern Urals, Sverlovsk Oblast. Documents that they had in the tent suggest that the expedition was named for the 21st Congress of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union, which would likely be orchestrated by the local Komsomol organisation. 10 people in total would have some involvement in this expedition, with one of them leaving early due to an illness he caught. This would end up being perfect timing for him. On the 1st or the 2nd of February 1959, the 9 other skiers that continued on with this expedition would tragically perish. Something caused the groups to cut their way out of the tents and flee, while not properly dressed for the heavy snowfall and temperature. 6 of them would perish due to hypothermia, while the other 3 would tragically pass from serious physical trauma, so serious that I may not be able to explain it in detail on YouTube. The reason for why they abruptly fled and what caused this physical trauma is still debated to this day, leading me to the end of this bizarre mystery. Around the San Francisco Bay Area, 5 people would tragically perish and 2 would be injured around the years of 1968 and 1969. This story is already tragic, however it gets even worse when you realise that these crimes may have been committed by one person. December 20th, 1968, 2 young people would sadly perish from gunshots. July 4th and 5th, 1969, 2 people would be shot, with only one of them surviving. September 27th, 1969, 2 people would be attacked with a knife, with only one person surviving, and in October 11th, 1969, a man would tragically be shot, ending his life. The reason for why these killings are connected is because he would mail taunting messages to the regional newspapers, admitting to his crimes, and threatening killing sprees and bombings if they did not print out this for the newspaper. He would also leave behind cryptograms and ciphers, with 2 of them still remaining unsolved. Even with all this information and sketch drawings about this man, he was sadly never caught, leading me to the end of this mystery. August 15th, 1977. In Ohio State University, a strong narrowband radio signal would be detected. This signal would be discovered by astronomer Jerry R. Ehman a few days later. He would circle the reading of this signal's intensity, 6EQUJ5. He also wrote the comment WOW, leading to it being called the WOW signal. The reason for why this story is so strange is because the signal lasted for 72 seconds, and it would never be detected again, leading me to the end of my research. On the 6th of June 1980, a man that goes by the name of Zygmunt Adamski, who was a coal miner living in a village located in England called Tingley, he left his home to purchase potatoes. He wasn't seen alive again. 5 days later, his body would be discovered by a man called Alan Godfrey. After some investigating, the verdict was that he died from natural causes because he had a heart and chest disease, but this verdict to this day still lacks any clear evidence. This case would be reinvestigated, but this wouldn't lead to any other clear answer to what happened to him. Many years later, people are still trying to come up with their own conclusions with the information they've got from the internet. Some say it was a tragic accident or foul play. Some people even say that fate was decided due to extraterrestrials. The area Todmorden is known for its strange occurrences and local legends. The person who found him also said he saw UFOs 5 months after the incident, but sadly, it's still just a theory. This mystery occurred on March 13th, 1997. Thousands of people from Phoenix and surrounding areas reported seeing lights in the sky in a V-shaped formation. Varying descriptions were seen between the times 7:30 PM and 10 PM. This would spark speculations of extraterrestrial activities or cover-ups from the government. Multiple other speculations exist, however it's sadly still unknown for why this event occurred, leading me to the end of the video.